In this video, we are going over example number 2 in lesson 11.3, and it's about interior angles of a triangle. Remember, our objective is we're going to be able to use facts of angle sums of triangles to solve problems in which two angle measures are known and the third is unknown. All right, and the facts about angle sums is the fact that the sum of the measures of the interior angles of a triangle is 180 degrees, right? When you add up all the angles inside of a triangle, all three of them, it equals 180 degrees. So we need to apply that to our example number 2. Example number 2, all right, they ask us, what are the measures of the angles of triangle JKL? All right, here's angle J, angle K, and angle L. Well, notice none of the angles have an exact measure. It doesn't say, like J is 61 degrees, K is 85 degrees. I'm sorry, or like 110 degrees, right? It doesn't say that. But it does say that J, the measure of angle J is 2x minus 14 degrees. K is 3x plus 10 degrees, and then angle L is x minus 2 degrees. Okay, so notice all of them have the variable x in them, which means we have to solve for the variable x before we figure out, and to help us figure out, the measures of each of the angles. So we're going to use more algebra in this one, in this problem. All right, so what we do know is we know that the measure of angle J plus the measure of angle K plus the measure of angle L, think about what it equals when you do get the measures of them. What did we learn? All right, well, it equals 180 degrees, right? That's what we learned, that when you take the measures of the three angles inside of a triangle, they equal 180 degrees. So we do know that. All right, so now we have to write down what else we know here. Well, we know that the measure of angle J, what we do know is that it is 2x minus 14 degrees. We add it to the measure of angle K, which we know is 3x plus 10 degrees. And then we're adding it to the measure of angle L, which the information they gave us is that is x minus 2 degrees. All right, and all of that equals 180. Okay, let's get rid of the parentheses here. Since at the beginning of all the parentheses it's a positive or a plus, then we can get rid of them. So let's just say 2x minus 14 plus 3x plus 10 plus x minus 2 equals 180. Okay. Now, this is interesting because we have a lot of terms on this side of the equation, but we want to narrow them down, right? We're trying to solve for x here. So, think about how we can narrow these down. We want to combine like terms to start solving for x. All right. Well, we have some x terms here. We have a 2x, a 3x, and an x. So let's combine those. We have a 2x plus a 3x, right? Keep the sign in front of the term. And then plus another x. These are all like terms because they're all x terms. So if we take those terms and we add them together, right, we're combining like terms. If we have a 2x's, we add 3x's. We have 5x's, right? 2x plus 3x is 5x. And then add another x. It would make it 6x's. So it's 6x. And then we have some numbers we can combine. We have a minus 14. Let's box those off because now we're going to combine the numbers. Let's box plus 10 because that's a number. And then let's box minus 2 because that's another number. All right, so let's think about it. Think about what is it when you combine negative 14 plus 10, what is it? If you guessed negative 4, you're correct. Okay, negative 14 plus 10 is negative 4. And then when you subtract another 2, well, negative 4 minus 2 is negative 6. So when you combine these numbers, you get negative 6. And it still all equals 180 degrees. Okay. So now we have to keep solving for x. To get x by itself, here we have to bring this minus 6 over, so we add 6 to both sides. All right, and you're left with on this side 6x equals, over here we have 180 plus 6 equals 186. All right, then we have to divide both sides by 6, and you're left with x equals 31. All right, so we just figured out what x equals. We just solved for x, which is going to help us out in our problem. All right, we know that this x right here is 31. This is 31 right here when you plug in x, and when you plug in x right here, it's 31, because we just solved for x. So now we have to go back. Now that we know what x equals, you could plug in 31 to each of your x's to get the measures of the angles. So let's start with measure of angle J. They told us that measure of angle J is 2x minus 14 degrees, and we figured out that x equals 31. So let's plug that in. 2 times 31 minus 14. All right, when you multiply 2 times 31, it's 62 minus 14. 62 minus 14 is 48. So we just figured out that the measure of angle J is 48 degrees. Right, because we used what we know, that x equals 31, and plugged it in to get the number of degrees it is. Now let's do the measure of angle K. Well, we know that the measure of angle K is 3x plus 10 degrees. Okay, and we know that x is 31, so we do 3 times 31 plus 10. Well, 3 times 31 is 93, so we have 93 plus 10, which is 103. All right, so we just figured out that the measure of angle K, right, is 103 degrees. Okay, and lastly, we have to figure out the measure of angle L. So the measure of angle L, we know, is x minus 2 degrees. And we figured out that x equals 31, so let's plug that in. 31 minus 2. Well, 31 minus 2 is 29. So we just figured out that the measure of angle L is 29 degrees. Okay. So lastly, let's show our check here, because we figured out that J is 48 degrees, K is 103, and L is 29 degrees. So basically what that's saying is if you take 48 degrees and you add it to 103 degrees, and then you add it to 29 degrees, it should equal 180 degrees. right? Because when you take the sum of the angles inside of the triangle, it equals 180 degrees. Okay, and when you do add all of them up, they equal 180. So both sides of the equation equals 180 degrees, so this checks. All right, we got the right answer. All right, go ahead and try the got it number 2 and then watch the video to make sure you have it correct.